The Justin Robert Young podcast is brought to you, as always, by The Contender, the game of presidential debate, the social card game that's sweeping the nation. We only have a few weeks until our president is decided, but you can decide the president of your own life by playing The Contender. Listen, it's a social card game. If you like Cards Against Humanity, you like Super Fight, it is somewhere between the two of those. You have all your talking points in your hand, and you go around in a circle until you decide, using real presidential quotes, who has made the best argument on topics like women and income inequality and freedom. Man, it's a great time. Head on over to thecontender.us. Make sure you use offer code DIAMOND, that is less than greater than, at checkout, and I'll sign your box if you like. And we are now shipping to Canada, to Australia, and to the United Kingdom. From our shining seas to yours, head on over to thecontender.us and buy stickers or DIAF. We got new stickers. They're done by Carter Johnson. They all look baller. Thank you to everybody that's already pre-ordered their stickers. They're shipping this week. If you go ahead and order them right now, you will get a rare limited edition JuRY in Your House tour sticker that we made for our little In Your House tour a little while ago. But these are what they look like if you are watching on YouTube or live on diamondclub.tv. Swamp Thing Diamond Club. Western Cactus Style Diamond Club. Our Spaceman Diamond Club. Our Hippie Bus Diamond Club. Our Dinosaur Diamond Club. I'm just realizing that for people who are only listening on audio, you have no idea what these look like, but they're better than you can imagine. Only $5 for 7 stickers. Can't beat that one with a stick. It is at Stickers or DIAF. And by patreon.com/JuRY. We are live and in charge because you guys have wished it to be. From Cleveland to Philadelphia to Chicago. This summer, we've done this in so many other different cities because you guys have demanded it, and I'm super pumped that we had the chance to do it for you. Support us, won't you? Patreon.com/JuRY. But let's stop talking about doing the show. What do you say we just do the show?
Said, I know it's ugly, and I said, girl, ugly ain't the half, look at you. Well, you got blue teeth, and you only got 2 teeth, but I kinda like to see you smile. And it appears that over the years you've turned into a big old steaming pile. And she said, yeah, I know I ain't no supermodel. I said, you ain't a hand model, baby. But that's fine, 'cause you're pretty ugly by most people's standards, but you're alright by mine.
Doodle-doo. Hey, what's up, friends? How are you guys doing? My name is Justin Robert Young. This is the JuRY Show. This is a one-mic show where I just go ahead and spew whatever's on the top of my dome. This is weird, man. This is kind of weird. This is kind of crazy because, like, we've had so many weird shows, as I kind of alluded to it in the ad read. So many weird shows this summer, right? Just a lot of odd cities and formats and everything. And now, here we are, back where we belong, together on a Sunday night, gathered as a family so we can share family time. The Diamond Club clan grows every day, and we are happy to have you. this is the first time for whatever reason that you are listening to this show, this is our own little island of misfit toys. We communicate about issues that we probably wouldn't otherwise bring up in polite company because we work hard amongst the JuRY show to foster a community of people for whom judgment is absent and empathy is plentiful. And I need it because the rest of the show is just literally stuff that I've dealt with. And it's hard when you are strip mining your own life for stories to do 2 episodes of the show in close succession. You know, there's a goal on our Patreon. We're at like 700, which is insane and amazing and the best thing ever. But there's a goal on there for $1,000. I'll do this 5 days a week. And that's a very exciting prospect for me. But like I would have to start talking about the news of the day if I did that. Because there's no way that I could just talk about this stuff. I don't have that interesting of a life. And I have a fairly interesting life. I do fairly interesting kinds of things. But it's hard for me to put 2 kind of confessional episodes back to back. But I feel like I've done it. Although I don't feel like I've done it well. Which is why I'm going to start this episode by talking about a weird dream I had. I don't know where other people are. Where are y'all here in the chat room? Where are you guys? Of course, we stream live on diamondclub.tv every Sunday at 7 o'clock, except for the times that we don't. Like, where are you guys at on remembering dreams or thinking dreams mean something? I don't tend to think that dreams mean a lot because when I was a kid, I used to think that they meant a lot because my mom bought a book. My mom bought a book about interpreting your dreams, that it was really your subconscious trying to tell you something. Now, I don't believe that dreams are totally absent any kind of value or worth because obviously reoccurring dreams are probably a marker on some level that you are worried or panicked about something. For example, I believe I've talked on this show a lot before that I have a problem, not necessarily, it used to be sleepwalking when I was a kid, and now it is more panic wake-ups in my 20s and now my early 30s. I get these weird panics where I'm like, I believe in my head that I need to be somewhere at a certain time, and so I will wake up and get in the shower and get dressed before realizing that, you know, I should probably check a clock to see when it really is. So I've never really given much credence to dreams. But then again, I don't really remember a lot of them. But for whatever reason, I had one last night, and it was a little silly, and I don't know what it means. So how about this? I'm going to go ahead and trust fall back into your guys' arms, and I would like you guys to interpret this dream for me. So you can email in your dream interpretations to justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Conversely, if you would like to tell me about your dreams, I will translate them for you. Is that a good deal? Good deal? All right. Well, let's go ahead and start this up. This is a dream I had last night. Me and a bunch of friends wound up going to a bowling alley. Now, it wasn't just any bowling alley. It was, for whatever reason, a drug-free bowling alley. Now, like, I don't think that these are necessarily that big of a deal, you know, because I'm sure, I remember when I was a kid, I'm sure it's the same way now, that a lot of places in which kids congregated would have signs based on public programs that would just say drug-free zone, right? Anybody else remember that? Like, I mean, so Waffle Lava gets in the chat room saying, wait, JuRY, do you know of a bowling alley that's drug-friendly? Well, no, not necessarily. Like, I don't know any, bowling alley that's like, come on down to Stu's bowling alley. Bring your weed. It's fine. Smoke it inside. It's great. I love the smell. I'm Stu. I have a bowling alley. Like, I don't know that, right? But I do remember, like, playgrounds, schools, Discovery Kids Zone, stuff like that. You'd have that sign outside that said drug-free zone. So me and a couple friends, adults, wander into this bowling alley. And for whatever reason, we think it's really, really, really funny to snort cocaine in the drug-free bowling alley. So we get out what I would imagine to be. Now, without going into encyclopedic detail about my relationship with the drug cocaine, safe to say I have not been around it a lot. You know, can't really grow up in Florida without seeing it, but it hasn't really been in my life, and I've never purchased cocaine myself. So I only know by way of seeing it socially in what forms it comes, which are, Jesus, I don't know how young the kids are that listen to this show. If you are a young child or you're listening to this with your kids, like, just skip this episode because this is going to be weird. Like, cocaine normally comes in very small packages. And for whatever reason, in this dream, I had just like an envelope that you would get your paycheck with, like with half filled with cocaine. Like it had the little clear windows on it where you could see like it was a submarine of cocaine and you could see it kind of peering out of the porthole saying like, whoa, going down to 5 knots. Just a little cocaine waving at you. Periscope up your nose. I don't know why I'm giving the cocaine such a silly voice. So anyway, we find it really, really funny to do cocaine in this drug-free zone in my dream. So I snort cocaine in this drug-free bowling alley. We started to bowl a little bit, and at some point, a very official person comes over to me in a suit and says, "Sir, we're going to need to see you in the back." And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't have the cocaine on me. I don't know where. It's a dream, right? So it just evaporates. As soon as the cocaine is done with its relevance to the story, it's gone away. And now I am very confident that, like, what are they going to do, right? It's already inside of me. Oh, yeah, you're right. I am hiding this cocaine in my nostrils. Come and find it, copper. But I get sat down from this real Mr. Smith looking dude. And he's like, you understand this is a drug-free bowling alley, right? I'm like, yeah, I do. And now imagine, I'm very cocksure. I am very, very, very confident that this is going to go my way. I've gotten away with murder. I have successfully and without any kind of plausible proof, I have plausible deniability, but I have indeed, in my heart of hearts, I know that I have defiled the drug-free bowling alley. I mean, I guess I probably defiled the drug-free bowling alley just by bringing drugs in. Probably could have been satisfied there, but no, I did the Deion Sanders high-stepping touchdown dance to kind of bring it to a big crescendo. But this guy's having none of it. He is the Elliot Ness to my Al Capone. You know, this is a drug-free bowling alley, right? Yeah. Yeah, I know. We're going to need to drug test you. Now, this is where the dream gets a little weird. Because, like, if I was really snorting cocaine at a bowling alley and somebody asked to drug test me, I would say, no, you can't. I'm going to decline that offer. And I will instead leave your establishment. Now, a lot of people in the chat room, Beef, Fitshift, saying, I feel like I could relate more if it were weed. Yeah, but weed doesn't work in this scenario because, you know, weed leaves an aroma. It leaves smoke, right? Unless you're eating edibles, it's a different story. And hey, I can't control my dreams. Stop judging them. Just go along on this journey with me. So, what happens past this point, I can only really describe as high courtroom drama. Because I consent to a blood, hair, and urine drug test. A comprehensive, as if I were an Olympic athlete. I submit to the entire thing. I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe I was just so confident that there was nothing they could do. So I go ahead and pee in a cup and I get blood taken from me. I take hair taken from me. And for whatever reason, and this is weird because I know that drug tests usually take a couple weeks to come back, the results are instantaneous. Apparently at this bowling alley, they can also process the results. And so I get back, and again, time's weird in a dream, so this might have been a little bit later. But I wind up sitting at this very official legal table because now, again, this is high drama that I have. This is in my mind in this dream. This is nationwide news. Free drug-free bowling alley defiled by old sinister Justin Young. Free Justin, says the crowds, as the accused coke sniffer in the drug-free bowling alley will have his day in court. I feel like the nation is polarized on how I should be treated. Just let him go. It's a harmless dude in a bowling alley, says my supporters. Lock him up. Law and order is the only thing that reigns, and if we can't defend our bowling alleys from drugs, then what's next? Our schools? Yay or nay? The nation divided. Sitting down in the middle of the maelstrom. Me, my lawyers on one side. On the other side, actually, no, it's just me by myself. And it's like the other authorities, whoever's persecuting me for this. And the guy sits across from me and shoves off the rest of his team. He's like, hey, guys, can you just give us a minute? Can you give us a minute? Okay, cool. Sits down with me. And he's very political with how he words this. So the results have come in. And what they found was that you had trace amounts of cocaine in your blood consistent with you having done cocaine the day before. Now, technically, that is still in violation of the drug-free zone. However, we are willing to issue you a plea bargain. We will make this all go away if you admit that you did indeed snort cocaine the day before you came in to our drug-free bowling alley. Now, this is where I don't quite understand. This is where somebody can interpret what this means to me, right? What elements of my life I am either highlighting or subjugating within my subconscious and playing out in this melodrama. But for whatever reason, I was very, 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 very sure that I was skating on this. I was going to make an example of them. And so I said, I don't believe your test, and I will not admit that I have ever touched cocaine. So I don't know whether I was looking to run for office or I was a pop star. Like, who knows? I mean, if this was just my regular life and all of this had happened and they offered me that deal, now who knows why a drug-free zone would have its own paramilitary CIA situation where they were drug testing and holding me accountable for things. But I would just say, yeah, fine, whatever. I snorted cocaine the night before. Make it all go away. Bing, bang, boom. That's not what happened. And so then we began the trial. And it was only at the trial that I realized what the stakes were. Show up at trial in my nice suit. And the judge reads what the penalty of my crime is. For the crime of using drugs at a drug-free bowling alley, the defendant, Justin Robert Young, faces a $10,000 fine. $10,000. Not jail. Like, I wasn't going to jail for life. It was just $10,000. At which point then I realized that I had agreed to go to trial because I was going to pay my lawyers $9,000. And this is where I woke up. But this is where the dream was going. I'm sitting in court, and it all comes to me. I'm like, wait a minute. My lawyer is my friend. In fact, my friend was at the bowling alley with me. In fact, my friend is the one who handed me the envelope full of cocaine. In fact, my friend, the lawyer, the one who had the envelope full of cocaine and handed it to me, was also the one who said, you want to know what? This would be really funny if we did coke in a drug-free bowling alley. In fact, the friend who handed me the cocaine, who said it would be a good idea, who encouraged me to snort it, who was at the bowling alley with me, was right now next to me collecting $9,000. And I looked over to my friend, the lawyer, and just as if it needed its own button, as I was thinking, and I was all realizing this in my dream, I look over at my friend, and he just gives me a look back and hits me with a shrug emoji. So I don't quite know whether or not this next segment's really gonna fit, but you know, we're just gonna try and do it anyway. What is this show? Why do oh man. See, here's the problem is when you don't do show prep and you just kind of throw a bunch of things in a Google sheet, and then you go on these weird tangents, then you find yourself sometimes, and this has happened so many times for regular listeners of this show, where I mention one thing and it's a big issue, and then or like it's really sad, and then I have something very light coming after it, or I have something really, really light, and then I have something really sad after it. But I guess we only do this show for an hour, and I talk a lot, so eventually these things are going to have to run into each other. This one's not the worst, but it's definitely right after I just spent a solid 20 minutes telling a story that, at least on the base level, betrays the fact that I have at least a passing understanding and knowledge about the drug cocaine and how it's sold. I then tell you about my personal thoughts on responsibility. Yeah, that's it. That's who you want to hear from when it comes to personal responsibility, the person who has cocaine dreams. Although I'll tell you this, man, I'll bet you more people than you know that you would consider to be role models of responsibility have at least had a cocaine dream. In fact, here's your homework. I want everybody to go out this week and ask somebody that you respect whether or not they have had a dream ever in their lives that have included the drug cocaine. In any capacity, not them doing it necessarily, but maybe just having it in the dream. Maybe they were a DEA agent and they were making a coke bust, or they were imagining that they were in the show Miami Vice, and they had made a thing or something else, right? Just something where cocaine was involved. Anyway, back to personal responsibility. I do a whole nother show about politics, so I don't want to make this about politics, but it's going to be about political people. Because as I've gotten older, I've come to realize that there is really only one. I am a single issue voter. A single issue voter. And it is not a partisan issue. It is a behavioral trait. And it is personal. No, it's not legalized cocaine. It's not legalized. I'm just getting lit up here in this chat room. You should watch it. Watch it on YouTube. YouTube.com/Justin R. Young. Justin Robert Young. Sorry. YouTube.com/Justin Robert Young. But I'm just going to guess. No, if everybody's saying my single issue is legalizing cocaine or legalizing cocaine in bowling alleys. Legalize bowling. No. My single issue that I watch almost obsessively is personal responsibility, and specifically when the chips are down. Because although I am for politicians and people in power being more communicative with those that they affect, I am also very much a stickler for people pushing off blame, pointing a finger. And this specifically gets my goat when we talk about big roles like CEOs, presidents, kings, queens, those people. Because I think it is a sign of moral weakness when you have somebody for whom nobody else can effectively challenge, pushing blame. For example, one of the things that I really didn't like about President Obama, personally, was that he had this thing with Congress. And he would make a point of like, oh, this is an obstructionist Congress. Now, I ain't here to argue whether or not they were obstructionist. Because, whatever. Yeah, sure, they were. Whatever. My problem was he would mention it. He should have never mentioned it. The only thing that should have ever come out of his mouth is, we are looking forward to working on this. and that deals will kind of come on and off the table, but I will never stop offering deals. I am always going to be there. My hand will always be outstretched. Whether or not I am spurned matters not. What matters is that we are working for the American people. Now, is that far easier said than done from me, whose only responsibility is to feed his birds, be a decent husband, and at least at that point, that's fudgeable, and do podcasts in which I talk about doing drugs and drug-free bowling alleys? Yes, it's extraordinarily easy for me to say. Very hard for him to do. But when we talk about the unique responsibilities that the president needs to have, that's one of them. The buck stops here. That's the motto that I very much appreciate and love when it comes to the office of the president. Which is why I have been driven up a wall with Donald Trump. Because that dude is just, it's like that Total Recall quote. When that dude's fondling the ladies with the 3 boobs in Total Recall, and he's like, I wish I had more hands. Well, Donald Trump's like that. He wishes he had more hands, but not to fondle alien boobs so he can point more fingers. Dude loves pointing fingers. Today was about the media, going on a tweet storm about the media. See if I can bring up. It says, hey, look, everybody's saying to stay on message. Well, I am staying on message. It's the media. It's taking it out of context. Oh. Well, I was going to be winning this election, but a lot of these other people who I beat, instead of organizing people around me, they're sabotaging me. Oh. So it's not your fault. Somebody else's fault. I'm going to tell you this, because a lot of this show is about betterment and me as a man trying to become better, me as a citizen, me as a husband, me as a professional trying to become better. And I want to share my journey with you guys, and I want you guys to share your journey with me. But I've kind of come to this conclusion that the one thing for which is, the greatest weakness in my life is complaining. It's hard. It's hard to not do it when you see things are broken. Now, there's constructive criticism and there's blowing off steam. And, of course, we can all be in positions in life when we're near people that we trust and love, for which we can point out the flaws in the world around us, so we might hopefully better them. I'm not asking y'all to be super stoic, Swedish people that just don't say anything and go through life with a plain expression. Of course you should talk to your friends. Of course you should talk to people. And if that means that you're talking about things that are broken, then hell, it means you're talking about things that are broken. But at the same time, if you are spending more of your time complaining than trying to fix things, you're doing it wrong. And if people get the impression from you that you are all talk and no action, then you are doing it wrong. And more specifically, you are passing up a very, very, very important possibility. And that is signaling to other people that are achievers, signaling to other people who get things done, other people who are motivated, other people who can make your dreams a reality by way of collaboration or employment. You are telling them you're not going to get it done. Because that's how creators find each other. creators find each other by looking over at somebody and saying, yeah, I'll bet you they'd work with me really well. And instead, you're just out here bitching about the media, about John Kasich, about, I guess they both Obama and Trump bitch about Mitch McConnell. You're out here bitching. Especially when you're in a position. Oh, man. You could be doing something. You could be changing the world. You could be fixing immigration. You could be persecuting people who snort cocaine in bowling alleys. I read a dumb article today, and I want to read it with you guys. It's from this blog called the New York Times. Here's the headline. He likes Trump, she doesn't. Can this marriage be saved? Do me a favor. If you ever read a headline that's stupid, stop reading it. There's a joke in the media about trend pieces in the New York Times or in general. Trend pieces are the dumbest things on earth because effectively, here's what you need journalistically, responsibly journalistically. Here's what you need to write a trend story. Find 3 people. If you can find 3 people that are into slap wristbands, you can interview the 3 of them and the maker of the slap wristband and say, hey, man, these are selling. And they're like, yeah, they're great. I love slap wristbands. And the 3 people that you interview will all be like, yeah, I didn't think they were going to be good, but now me and Melissa love them. And then Melissa's like, ha, 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 she's right, said Melissa, 21, a resident of Akron, Ohio. I hate trend pieces. They're really stupid. Some of them are good if they point out something larger about our culture, but the lazy ones are maybe the worst thing in journalism. So this is a stupid trend piece where it's like, hey, it turns out politics is something that could really strain a relationship. So let's go ahead and take a look here. This is the lead. I hope this violates their paywall, by the way. In early May, when Dr. Thomas Stossel told his wife, Dr. Carrie McGuire, you have no idea how little it shocks me that both these people are doctors, of his plan to vote for Donald J. Trump in the general election, she hit him with an ultimatum. If you vote for Trump, I'll divorce you and move to Canada, she recalled telling him. He tried to laugh it off. I'm serious, Dr. McGuire told him. Before this spat, so here's our lead. Right there. A personal anecdote about how this guy was like, I'm going to vote for Trump. And she's like, hell no. I will terminate our marriage and I will move to Canada. Like, I'm going to leave our house. I'll divorce you. You'll keep the house because the house is in America and not Canada. And I will move to Canada. Sunbun says, classic Dr. Carrie McGuire. Dude, totes. Before this spat through nearly 20 years of marriage, politics had never caused much friction between Dr. McGuire, a dentist. I mean, come on, Jesus. How far are they going to stretch this doctor tag? A dentist who is the director of the Children's Outreach Program at the Forsyth Institute in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and Dr. Stossel, a hematologist and professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School. There we go, folks. The New York Times sticking to the real people in America we have a professor at Harvard and somebody who runs a children's outreach program at another Massachusetts college. Then came the 2016 presidential campaign, a political season that has made for hot debates in the public arena and is also seeped into private lives and private eyes. They're watching you. I added that part. Complicating friendships, marriages, romances, and relationships among family members. Dr. McGuire, 59, and her husband, 74, have disagreed over politics before, but never like this. What? All right, Dr. McGuire, 60-year-old Dr. McGuire, just divorce him. It's fine. You've probably been married for a while, right? 20 years of marriage, you just don't want to be married anymore. It's okay. You can leave. You don't need to pretend that you're going to, no, this is about the wall and what he said about Mexicans. Stop it. It's not. It's because you don't like your marriage. Just go. This is, all right, come on. Dr. Carrie McGuire, hold on. Wait a minute. Dr. Carrie McGuire, this is Justin Robert Young. I'm talking to you, all right? It's fine. You can leave if you want. If you're serious about divorcing your husband because he's got to vote for Trump, then let's be honest. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. You want to move to Montreal? That's fine. We've all been there. Sometimes, man, you wish that there was 51 ways to leave your lover. And one of them was, hit him in the pump if he votes for Trump. Stump. That one didn't come out as well as I wanted it to. I'm sorry, Dr. McGuire. I'll do better next time. So here, a lot of people here in the chat room are saying, go back to that picture. Let's go ahead and take a look at this picture here. So these are two other people. These are not the people that are in. This is Anna Sproul Latimer and Matt Latimer of Arlington, Virginia. So these are other people that live in Boston. And they're the lead, but the lead does not match the lead art, which is definitely confusing. So here, I feel like we've already diagnosed this Dr. Stossel thing. Doesn't matter. So here we go. Here's this next one. Because again, oh my God, wait, is his brother really John Stossel? Is his brother really John Stossel? Oh my God, he is. Oh my God. All right. When I said that I'd read this, I totally only read the beginning. I only read the beginning. Oh my God. Oh, I dropped my phone. Oh my God. Politics were very low on the list of priorities when we met, said Dr. Stossel, whose political ideology made a rightward turn in the 1980s, bringing him more in line with his brother, John Stossel, who hosts Stossel on the Fox Business Network. What? Therapists say that you have to have the best relationship when you are clearly separate people. And I like to think that we're emotionally centered so that we can have a major disagreement about something and it's not a big problem. What do you mean I sound like my brother? I can't hear it. We talk all the time. In fact, this is a recording of him right now. Hi, John. It's me, your brother. No, people are like, oh, well, so much for trend pieces being bad, says Crouch. No, this should have been John Stossel's brother might get divorced because of the election. That should be the headline. And none of these other people should have any part of it. It should just be, and then interviewing John Stossel. In fact, Listen, it has been a long-standing goal of the Night Attack program for us to talk to John Stossel because we love John Stossel and we love doing impressions of John Stossel. It's been a long-standing goal. But if I ever meet John Stossel, it is 100% certainty that at some point, if we are in a casual moment, I'm going to be like, yo, that's sister-in-law, huh? Right? Little wound tight, huh? Huh? Little tight? Oh my God, I can't believe this. I can't believe that we discovered this. That is the best thing ever. All right, we got your emails right after this. Of course, you can email us at justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Again, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Make sure you put JuRY in the subject line. Makes it a lot easier for me to sort. The Saint Hot Beverages writes, I know how crazy your summer has been, but I was wondering if you had any plans for the call-in show. That was the actual goal at 700, was that I would do a call-in show, and I think everybody's been very, very patient with me. We'll do the call-in show. We'll do the call-in show next week. I got to set a time. I'll announce the call-in show next week. How's that? We'll announce the time. Now, it'll happen before DragonCon. There we go. There's a lot going on. It's going to be fine. But, yeah, we'll figure it out. Thank you for reminding me. All hail hot beverages. Another Jay Martin writes, hey, JuRY, on the last Night Attack show, Shuad said you got 78 people into Disney World without paying. How in the hot ham water do you get into Walt Disney World for free? This is an essential life hack we need to know. I did not realize that this was something that not everybody knew. You want to know how? I got a one-step solution. How do you get in Disney World for free? It was only 25. It wasn't 78. Still a lot of people, though. Here's what you do. Grow up in Florida. Done. Like, it's just one of those things where when you grow up in Florida, you know somebody who works for Disney. Like, it just happens that way. Eventually, especially if you live in the Central Florida area, eventually somebody works for Disney and you get their tickets. It's easy. Yeah, I mean, and then we also had other people that, helped us in. But, like, I had my pick. In fact, like, I decided who I would ask for free tickets based on who I didn't want to bother. There were like 3 or 4 people that I didn't bother that I could have got in. But, I just don't, it's like a thing, and then I got to go and pick up the tickets, and it's just it's an effort. But yeah, grow up in Florida. Anybody who's growing up in Florida, they know exactly what I'm saying. You know somebody that works for Disney. Yeah. So step 2, don't grow up somewhere else. Grow up in Florida. It's one of the perks. TJ writes, about my story about the getting rejected on the floor of Gen Con about distribution. Says, to me, it seems like this guy you talked to would be the worst person to work with to get the Contender, the game of presidential debate, out to retailers. It seems as if he had one of his people troll the floor looking for marks, and then they would just talk up this guy that you had to meet. Then once you meet him, he just rips you up in the nicest way possible, of course, and in that way, that gives you hope. He tells you we can help you with all the things you had trouble with. You wouldn't have to go through the pain and suffering next time. He creates the attached investment. After the conversation is over, you leave feeling more pain than you actually did before the game. After the conversation is over, though, he is hoping that he is to make you the Harley Quinn to his Joker. Now, that might be a little bit too dramatic, but you get my point. I would suggest that if you do decide to go with a distributor, you don't use him. Don't use a guy who, after talking to you for a few minutes, made you feel like you didn't do a good enough job. Find someone who can recognize the accomplishments of your team and who is excited to build on it. You said at the end of that tale, if it burns, it's working. I would also add that, or you could be burning alive. Good point. Don't get too close to that sun. You might just end up an Icarus-looking MFer. So there's a couple ways to look at this. Number one, I was not brought there, on a whim, and in talking to other people, they're that are involved in the industry, there's a lot of reasons why he went with the way he did, or he was talking to me the way that he did. And again, I don't blame him. And really, he wasn't saying anything mean. If any of the butthurt that I got from it was from my own butt, if that metaphor tracks. It was my own personal expectations that were hurt, not him. He was very polite. He was just very efficient, because I'm sure he's just got to get a million of these that he's got to kind of push off to the side. So I appreciate where you're coming from, TJ, but I don't necessarily think that he was off base. He's just got a job to do. And that job did not include taking on new clients, no matter what I had. I would have had to have the best thing ever for him to even look at it twice, And to be fair, he didn't even look at it once, He saw that I had a new game, and from what I hear, unless it is, a new Pokemon game that I have the license to, he's just not interested in taking on things that aren't licensed properties. That being said, I definitely understand where you're coming from in that you want to work with a partner who recognizes your unique value. And if for whatever reason he does not see me as a unique business opportunity, then maybe I don't see him as a unique business opportunity. Jason writes, I was just watching the show and totally agree with you. If you're in your 30s and 20s and still living with your parents, you are really not learning the skills that you need to interact with people in the world. Don't get me wrong. If you're doing something like going to school and you need a place to live to save money, makes sense to have that support system. But you will learn much more by living on your own than you ever will by books or depending on others. If you can't afford a place by yourself, find a friend and share a place to live. You are part of your experience. If you only truly experience as living with family, then you will never truly develop your own styles and opinions. I can say that one of the best things I ever did was moving out from my parents' house. While I was allowed to do almost everything I wanted, I really did not learn about myself until I moved out and no longer had that support system to fall back on. This is something that I think we might have talked about on the JuRY wedding podcast, but I don't know if I've ever spelled it out here. I have never lived by myself in my life at all, ever. Born into a family, moved out into a college where I always had roommates, went out on my own, had roommates right up until I moved from my house with roommates, or my apartment with roommates, to an apartment with my girlfriend, then wife. I don't know if that's unique. I don't know if most people at some point live in an apartment by themselves, but I haven't. And to be honest, I don't really know what I'd be missing. So for anybody who's like, This ain't about not living with people, because I've lived with people my entire life. But I've just never lived alone. So live with people, just pay your own bills. And make that place people that you're living with, not your family. Maybe like a brother or sister, sibling. I mean, that makes sense. Just the parents, grandparents. Keep them out. Make your own way. It's gonna be better. You're gonna be better for it. I promise. I do. I think, unless you get busted, unless you get busted, doing rails at a bowling alley. You can reach the show by emailing justinrobertyoung@gmail.com, but JuRY in the subject line. Of course, my Twitter and Instagram, Justin R. Young. Snapchat. I'm on Snapchat a lot. Go ahead and hit me up on Snapchat. If you listen to this show and you follow me on Snapchat, just do me a favor and take a picture of yourself giving the middle finger. No text. Just snap me a picture of you giving me the middle finger on Snapchat if you're listening to this. Of course, you can join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. If you find yourself wanting to play a card game, go to thecontender.us. Of course, new sticker packs. Stickers are diaf.com. And support us on Patreon, patreon.com/JURY. If you find yourself interpreting your dreams, if you find yourself debating the worth of personal responsibility, if you find yourself getting divorced from your wife, can you imagine that conversation? I just don't know why she's being so sensitive. Well, me either. I don't know why. Barack Obama says, God, the Stossel brothers, so good. Till next time, my name is Justin Robert Young, encouraging you to please don't.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.